Yes, a very good evening to you, tuned into UBC TV once again. Welcome back from the program with Jaginda Semakula, and now we come in with UBC News Tonight, the second edition. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa, and we'll start with a look at the top stories. The race for Speakership of the 11th Parliament attracts mixed reactions from legislators. The NRM will hold primaries to choose Speaker for the 11th Parliament. Displaced families take shelter at the UN schools in Gaza as conflict continues. While in sport, Rhines and Bunyaruguru grab quarter-final slots in the FUFA Women's League. UBC News Tonight, thank you so much for tuning in. Speaker of Parliament Rebecca Kadaga has joined and taken oath to the 11th Parliament. Kadaga, who is also Kamuli District Woman Member of Parliament elect, promises her electorate better services. Henry Okurut also reports that the chairperson of the Uganda Women Parliamentary Association, Kamugo Pamela Nasio, also took oath.
Arriving to an amazing and warm welcome was the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, in company of her mother. She was here to be part of this constitutional requirement.
I, Rebecca Kadaga, swear in the name of the Almighty God. After taking oath, Kadaga looked re-energized, expressing readiness to improve service delivery in Kamuli District, Busoga Sub-Region.
Issues of increasing the number of technical schools in the district, increasing the water. I've already been doing the water issues. I'm supposed to ensure there is a solar lighting in all the trading centers in the district, and of course to improve on girl child education.
She maintains ambitions of seeking re-election to the Speakership of Parliament.
The next step is to put in my request, put in my notice for the Speakership. Yes, that's the next step.
When will this be?
We have time. You will hear when I've done it. Yes.
Earlier in the day, other newly elected and re-elected members of Parliament were sworn in, including the woman member of Parliament for Budaka District.
I, Kamugo Pamela Nasio, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda.
Pamela Nasio is also the chairperson, Uganda Women Parliamentary Association.
I want to take this opportunity to thank my people for having voted me back to the 11th Parliament. I'm so grateful. I look forward to working for them, delivering services and lobbying from government what I can so that I can deliver to my people.
Other members who have taken oath to the 11th Parliament made similar promises.
They know what I've been doing. I just assure them that I'm going to do more than what I did last time. Because last time I was an amateur, now I'm a senior member of Parliament.
Unity is on the agenda. We'll make sure that we come together, work together. We'll make sure that all the issues that we wanted to fix will be fixed.
Whoever that was voted must know that he has a responsibility of carrying on that task. Must carry the burden.
Most of them are new, others are retainers, while some, like Tororo North MP, Geoffrey Ekanya, have returned. Comical, as he has always been, stopped the traditional music as he moved to take oath.
This moment, our commitment is to really, as opposition, is to design a new framework so that we can move this country forward.
The program for swearing in for members of the 11th Parliament started on Monday 17th and will end on Thursday, 20th May 2021. Henry Okorut, UBC.
The speakership race between Kadaga and Oulanyah continues to draw mixed reactions from legislators. UBC TV spoke to a number of legislators who advised the top party of the NRM, the top organs of the NRM party, to leave the issue to the Parliamentary caucus. Details in this report.
Speaker Rebecca Kadaga and her deputy Jacob Oulanyah are wooing a house that has 529 members of the 11th Parliament being inaugurated on the second day of the swearing-in ceremony. Rebecca Kadaga, who has been at the helm for 10 years and one of the contenders, was among the first to take the oath.
Swear in the name of the Almighty God that will give faithful service to this Parliament and support and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as by law established. So help me God.
The controversies surrounding the position of the Speakership of the 11th Parliament and the unanswered questions that have been playing out in the public domain provided answers to them shortly after taking the oath of allegiance as woman representative of Kamuli district.
The next step is to put in my request, put in my notice for the speakership. Yes, that's the next step.
When will this be?
We have time. You will hear when I've done it.
After the SEC discussions, the matter was referred to the NRM Electoral Commission and the NRM Parliamentary caucus.
We have not yet reached a point where we are going to vet all those who have interest. So we looked at the guidelines, the regulations, and the salient features of these guidelines are that the Electoral Commission of NRM will issue a notice of expression of interest so that all those who are interested in contesting for these two positions apply to the Electoral Commission, and the names will then be forwarded to the Central Executive Committee.
As legislators took oath, we sought their views on the race and how it should be handled without causing rifts in the party.
Let these people, the NRM candidates who want to be the speaker, come to the caucus, and for us, the caucus vote on the flag bearer. I think that's how we have been doing it in the party. So for the harmonious election of the speaker, let the decision be made by the caucus.
We have a process as NRM. The moment they nominate somebody that this is our flag bearer, I'm ready to vote, him or her.
It's the outsiders that are escalating the issue, but there is no problem. The member of parliament know the person they are going to elect.
So as parliamentary caucus, we are going to handle that. And Madam Kadaga will say that, don't mind.
Being the majority in parliament, one who will be endorsed by the caucus to handle the NRM flag is most likely to top the seat that has also attracted applications from other political parties. From the opposition, Chira Municipality MP Brahmi Samijunganda of FDC and Bukoto Central MP-elect Robert Sebamala of the Democratic Party hope to take the same seat. But what do those on opposition think about the race?
Of course, as National Unity Platform, we are looking at having a speaker that works for everybody. We are envisioning a situation whereby the speaker that is going to preside over this August House, the 11th Parliament, is not going to be sided. It's going to be neutral. A speaker that cares about the welfare, well-being of the members of Parliament, and subsequently the welfare and well-being of our people that voted us into power. So that is the kind of speaker. And yes, out of those ones that are standing, I'm seeing someone that I'm going to vote because they believe in what I believe in: equity, fairness, and accuracy in doing their work.
But NUP has a spokesperson who will communicate officially the party position. We are watching and we are doing everything strategic to ensure that we are not losers in that race. Thank you very much.
A A total of 134 members of parliament took oaths today, totaling to 265 legislators who have been sworn in now for 2 days. Jacob Olanya is expected to break silence on the matter on Thursday after taking oath as member of parliament for Moro County. Bernard Higa, Parliament.
Still on the speakership press, the National Resistance Movement has defended its process of speakership selection as being guided by the law. This follows its pronouncement of calling for the expression of the interest for the post of Speaker and Deputy Speaker in the 11th Parliament by those interested. Nasir Lukomwa has the details.
The Commission has released guidelines for those intending to become Speaker and Deputy Speaker in the 11th Parliament. The process is to be carried out in the manner of party primaries, and the best candidate will represent the party on the 24th of May 2021 as the 11th Parliament will be choosing its Speaker and Deputy Speaker.
We are now going to handle the game like we've handled others before. So we warn those who are coming that you misbehave, we get data, we shall disqualify you.
Interested members are directed to express their interest between 19th to 21st of May 2021.
This is your first call of duty. You must make yourself available to participate in the first process as an MP.
According to the resolution of the NRM Central Executive Committee, the resolution extended the term of office of the executive committees of all NRM structures, special interest groups, and special nominated members of SEC for 6 months from 20th of May to 20th of November 2021.
The SEC process is very transparent. The candidates in question are called and they sit. And anything bad about them is talked when they are listening. If they say you have been this, you've been doing this, it is said in your face. And you have opportunity to answer. So we request our senior members of the party to keep their decorum and distance.
Only 337 NRM MPs will take part in this exercise, and however, the NRM independent leaning have been excluded. In case of a tie, the returning officer is given powers to make a final decision.
They'll sign a memorandum of understanding with NRM. For now, they have not signed. For now, they don't qualify to participate in the caucus activity to elect Speaker or Deputy Speaker.
The polling exercise will be held on the 23rd of May in yet unidentified venue between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Candidates will not pay for nomination, and other costs are to be catered for by the party. Abdul Nasir Lukomwa, UBC News.
Thank you so much for watching. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has told a group of African American investors who are in the country to explore opportunities that investing in Uganda is a sure deal to the success of their projects because of the prevailing excellent investment environment in the country. The 16-member team was led by Senegalese-American celebrity and businessman Alioune Damala Badara Ekon Thiam, who met the president earlier in the week before leaving his wife Rosina Nguesi with the delegation, which has been in the country for a week. President Museveni told the African American Business Group that Uganda is the right investment destination and boasts of a skilled but cheap labor force, a large market from the East African region, Africa, the American market under AGOA, and access to free markets in China and Europe. He said that government is working on reduction of the cost of power as well as the cost of transportation to lower the cost of doing business in the country. President Museveni, who was flanked by First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports Mrs. Janet Museveni, urged the prospective investors to take keen interest in Africa, which he said is their motherland, invest their resources in one continent and develop Africa because it has several business opportunities that are untapped. Mrs. Janet Museveni thanked the guests for having the trust in Africa and Uganda and deciding to venture and invest in the continent no matter the negative publicity it receives. She said that the African continent has suffered slavery in the last 400 years and the time was now for the continent to be free, develop and prosper, and appealed to the African American investors to invest in sports and sports facilities, a sector with a great potential as the country boasts of the youngest population in the world. The African American investors expressed interest in investing in the sectors of education, health, music, recreation, housing, banking, manufacturing and tourism, and hospitality. The meeting was also attended by the Lands Minister Betty Kamya, State Minister for Investment Evelyn Anite, and State Minister for Culture Peace Mutuzo.
You must resolve the issue of the market. The market of Africa is big, but it is fragmented. Uganda here, Tanzania there, Congo there. We are uniting that market. But you don't have to fear. When you produce here, you will sell within Uganda, sell within the region which you are working on, and Africa, but also sell back to the USA, because we have got agreements with the USA since the time of Clinton.
What you see happening now is what happened with the children of Israel when they went through those 400 years. When those 400 years were done in slavery, they had to go. And I believe that that's what is happening with the African people, the people of African origin in the diaspora. Their hearts are aching. They want to get out of wherever they are, to go back, to explore Africa, and to know that they can really go home after all. The 400 years of African slavery is done, and the African people are free. And to come to Africa, know that you belong here. This is where you belong, and you are free to come and invest and live.
Thank you very much for encouraging our Black Africans who've been lost abroad to come back home. We appreciate you, and as a family, the Chirindi family will always be loyal to the NRA-NRM government. Thank you.
I am amazed at what, in the last 30 years, you've been able to build and been able to stand upon. Having known, I worked at the White House. I worked when I was younger for President Obama, and I understand some of the nuances of the way the West views Africa. And I'm happy to say that although I was born in America, and that was because of circumstance, I'm going to be buried here in Uganda.
Fabrice Lurinda has been sworn in Entebbe Mayor, replacing Vincent Kayanja DePaul. He was sworn in with other local government councillors at Entebbe Municipal Council offices.
Fabrice Brad Rulinda, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So help me God.
Before swearing in, councillors were told the meaning of taking an oath. Then came the elected mayor in Entebbe Municipality, Fabrice Lurinda, to take oath and assume instruments of power at the municipality headquarters. Fabrice replaces Vincent Kayanja DePaul. Before swearing in, the councillors also took the same procedure for taking oath before Entebbe Magistrate Sihoya Naomi. Meanwhile, some councillors found it difficult to take oath in English.
I, Nambiru Maria Muamara, so
I swear in the name of the Almighty God that I will give you faithful service to this council and support and uphold the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as by law established, so help me God.
Fabrice Lurinda and some councillors maintain working for the people as promised before elections.
To the past mistakes, to the things that were done, I will say that my leadership is one of forgiveness and reconciliation. We start afresh. I don't care if you're DP, I don't care if you're NRM, I don't care if you're NUP, I don't care if you're independent. As long as you're a resident of Entebbe, you are my brother, you are my sister.
Nebaza nnyo abantu b'Entebbe, abantu babbanga ndakibugo virus, abantu ekamu obwesige. Nenzijira mu kibiina kya Mbuleera kya Nuupu.
Mutonyi Hilda and Sula Kagugube for UBC.
In Bukomansimbi district, the elected leaders of the district council have also been sworn in before Masaka Chief Magistrate Charles Yeitesi.
The swearing in for Bukomansimbi local district councillors included electing the speaker to council. His Worship Charles Yeitesi led the voting of district speaker, where Peter Ruberenga won with 13 votes, beating Joseph Luwaga and Dr. Livingstone Kayondo. The outgoing speaker, James Muhabwa, urged people of Bukomansimbi to cooperate with their leaders.
It is only here where people don't respect their leaders. What about you voted him to win me?
And in Chisoro district, the swearing-in function was presided over by Kabale Chief Magistrate Julius Kacha Borore in the district council hall.
Bisman Abel, swear in the name of the Almighty God that I shall faithfully exercise the function of the chairperson.
After swearing in, independent candidate Amos Hakizimana was elected Chisoro district speaker after beating NRM's John Mfutumokiza 32 votes. Charity Babazi went through unopposed as deputy speaker. Councillor rejected 2 secretaries and vice chairperson whom Abel Bizimana had appointed due to lack of qualifications.
Swearing in of the new district chairpersons of Mbale and Kibuku has been conducted with each chairperson stressing his strategic plan in his leadership of the 5-year tenure. In Mbale, Muhammad Mafabi of the FDC party was sworn in to lead the district, and in Chibuku, Haj Muhammad Nakeba from the NRM was also sworn in. The Mbale district chairperson, Muhammad Mafabi, pledged to prioritize health sector, whereas Nakeba Mohammed said he is to focus on bringing unity among the leaders in Chikube district, in addition to improvement of the road network in the district.
These are the rules of procedure, and this is the budget that you are going to implement. All right, I've given you the constitution. This is the local government act.
We shall also construct maternity wards, and we shall begin with hard to reach like that. Staff quarters, very critical. And above all, we need to get the district hospital. And then, as for the government policy, we are also going to ask Parliament to upgrade some of our health center 3 to health center 4, so that each constituency have a health center for. I'll be looking at that. And we shall also be monitoring the supply of drugs and its use in these facilities, meaning that much of the time I'll be in the field. And agriculture, you know, that's a very key sector in the district. And now that we have enough extension workers in the district, we are going to work with them and make sure that they train and prepare our farmers.
In the name of the Almighty God, solemnly affirm that I shall faithfully exercise the functions of the chairperson of Kibuku district and shall uphold, preserve, protect and defend the constitution and observe the laws of Uganda, and that I shall promote the welfare of the people of this district, Kibuku. So help me God.
I plan to unite the people of Kibuku. As you are aware, we have the politics of camps in this district. A district is torn apart on the basis of camps affiliations. So I have to ensure that in the first 2 months, I try to unite the people of Kibuku if we are to realize development in this district. Even my council is divided up, and that will be the beginning point where I will start from.
Employees in the Office of the President have been subjected to a 2-day health camp to screen for different illnesses. According to the Office of the President, the aim is to promote early disease screening for timely management.
Employees of the Office of the President, including resident district commissioners, turned up in large numbers to benefit from a free medical camp being conducted at the Office of the Prime Minister. The medical camp is running on the theme, a health workforce for productivity during COVID-19 pandemic. The Office of the President is collaborating with different private health sector players to provide various screening services to the employees.
We have embarked on this program of the medical camp, generally to make sure that our human resources are in good health and they can carry out service delivery without any problem of being sick or being unavailable because of sickness.
The employees commended their superiors for bringing health services nearer to them.
At times, human beings, we are lazy. You can just take it for granted. But when services come near you, you have to take that opportunity. Don't let it pass. So I'm very grateful to my accounting officer of Office of the President who brought this service nearer to us.
If you detect, you can prevent. If you have the disease when it is in early stages, it can be treated. And you can, it is better to go to the hospital when you are walking than to be taken when you're on the bed.
So we are grateful for institutions like this in which the corporate leadership has decided to take it upon themselves to have regular health camps at the workplaces.
The Permanent Secretary in the Office of the President, Haji Yunus Katende, called on other organizations to encourage their employees to embrace regular disease screening. According to the Office of the President, such medical camps will be conducted annually to assess the well-being of their employees. Adiana Kute, UBC.
Article 79, Clause 1 of the 1995 Constitution stipulates that Parliament shall have the power to make laws on any matter for the peace, order, development and good governance of Uganda. This is the reason why electorate entrusted the 529 members of the 11th Parliament with votes to go and represent their issues.
Because of what the Lord has done for
Rita Atukwasa, the Mbarara City Woman Member of Parliament, at a dinner in Kampala, assured her electorates immediately after taking oath that her target is to fulfill the parliamentary mandate as stated in the 1995 Constitution.
I want to serve most honorably for everybody, and I am only seeking for your support. That is the reason I called you.
Atukwasa promised to use her professionalism to help change the face of politics, especially in Parliament and her constituency.
I want to use that to see whether it works, because unless I try it, I will not know that it does what? It works. So we shall set up that committee. Bankers, lawyers, business people, craftsmen, politicians, you should all come and go to Mbarara and help the people.
Among those who attended is the former woman member of Parliament from Mbarara, Maria Matembe. Matembe urged the new Mbarara City Member of Parliament, Atukwasa, not to look at Parliament as a source of employment, but a platform to position herself best in order to transform the lives of her people.
You can plan, but God guides your steps.
She also advised Atukwasa to mobilize her fellow members of parliament from Greater Ankole to form a group aimed at pushing for development and women's agenda.
So when I hear that you want to be together, work together, revive even the Ankole Parliamentary Forum, please go and do it. Unity is necessary, sharing is important. Follow the agenda for the people.
Shema Municipality elected Member of Parliament Dickson Katashumbwa supported the idea of uniting members of Parliament from Greater Ankole.
We are going to work for a politics as a difference for abantu. We are not making sure abantu bareba difference. So pray for us, but also work very hard. Don't expect to Rita fulfilling our chumachona. Rita will do the best.
On the same event, the Ruhinda North Member of Parliament, who is also vying for the position of Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Tayeba Thomas, used this opportunity to ask his fellow members of Parliament to support his bid.
Deputy Speaker of Parliament.
By close of business today, over 260 members of Parliament have taken oath out of the 529. Story compiled by Tony Senabulia for UBC News.
The High Court has summoned Foreign Affairs Human Resource Commissioner Mark Seremba for cross-examination over the resignation of Uganda's ambassador to Kenya, Phoebe Otala Aweri. This followed his affidavit to court before Judge Esther Nambayo, confirming that the resignation of Ambassador Phoebe Otala as ambassador of Uganda to Kenya, which Ambassador Otala denies.
Earlier this year, Phoebe Otala Aweri, the former ambassador of Uganda to Kenya, filed an application in court against the Attorney General and the Permanent Secretary and Minister of Public Service, following the alleged termination of her contract as the ambassador of Uganda to Kenya without her consent. Basing on a resignation letter, the 36th July 2021 in court, sworn in by Seremba Mark, the Commissioner from Minister of Foreign Affairs, in reply, it indicates that Ambassador Otara resigned from office. Tuesday morning, the parties appeared before Judge Esther Nambayo to continue with the hearing of this case. It was during this session that Counsel Nagemi Peter, representing Ambassador Phoebe Otara, asked for court leave to file two applications, one asking court to summon Mark Seremba, the Commissioner Minister of Foreign Affairs, for cross-examination on his affidavit. According to Counsel Nagemi, the complainant Otara refutes the resignation letter, which Seremba presented to court, saying it bears a forged signature.
The signature is not mine. The date when the letter has been filed is the 2021, July 15th, 2021. How in July? Where is the justice in this country?
In another application, Counsel Nagemi wants Seremba to clarify to court on the said $10,000, which is said to have been deposited on Ambassador Otara's account by the mission to clear a shipment allowance.
I want Muhwereza to come here, and I want Seremba to come here, and I want to be paid all my money since I became the ambassador, and all the time I've taken. I want my money. I want my children's emolument. These people have stolen that money.
However, all the prayers were objected by Counsel Geoffrey Twine for the defense. Judge Esther Nambayo, however, overruled Counsel Twine's players, thus summoning Mark Seremba, the Commissioner from Minister of Foreign Affairs, to appear before court for cross-examination. After court talking to Ambassador Phoebe Otara, clarified on the said letter.
So I expressed interest to contest as a female member of parliament for Tororo, and I consulted the people. But the people advised me that, Ambassador, you are very good at the presidential campaign. Why don't you lead the campaign for Muzei? How will you do two things at the same time? So the mere fact that I did not contest in NRM up to the end, that does not mean that I stopped being ambassador. Let me tell you, Ugandans.
However, Ambassador Otala called for President's intervention in these issues.
Your Excellency, you are the President of Uganda. Let nobody ever take over your powers. Mr. President, as you are there, many people are lying you. That's why he complained that in Umeme they lied to him.
Last year, President Museveni appointed Hassan Galiwango as the High Commissioner of Kenya, replacing Ambassador Ouattara. However, in an interview with the media, Ouattara declined to hand over office, claiming that she has not been recalled by the appointing authority. Court adjourned this matter to 1st June 2021 for mention. Deborah Namamonde, Ubc News.
The principal judge, Dr. Flavian Zeija, has set the 23rd of June 2021 for a fresh hearing in the land case that was filed by leaders of St. Peter's Church of Uganda and Ndeba against Lukomwa. It follows complaints from church leaders through their legal team on how this case was handled by the presiding judge in High Court Land Division. According to Counsel Jamil Mpima, representing the church, the presiding judge in the Land Division did not peruse the church's evidence produced by the witnesses, thus reaching to the eviction judgment. St. Peter's Church of Uganda and Ndeba was demolished on the 10th of August 2020 on the alleged orders of Lukomwa.
All the judges had failed to hear our case. It had been allocated to almost 3 judges in Land Division, but all of them were not hearing it. So the principal judge decided to call the file and has today communicated to us that he's going to take over hearing of the file. And he has fixed the date for 23rd June for cross-examination of the applicants. Because the lawyer for the respondents had indicated that he had questions for the applicant, Madame Lucy Nsubuga. He had the questions for her. So we are going to bring her on 23rd for cross-examination. After cross-examination, the Honorable Judge will issue guidelines for us to file submissions, written submissions, and a date for his ruling. But the effect of the application to cancel the old judgment and we go for fresh hearing of the suit. That is what we want, because our complaint is our clients were not heard by the High Court and now they want to be heard. So the case has to be heard afresh.
From court, we'll take a very short break. Do not miss what we have on return. Thank you for watching.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
We cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture,
Animal Industry and Fisheries will conduct the National Livestock Census starting on the 24th of May to the 4th of June 2021. The census is aimed at obtaining information on the structure and organization of the livestock sector and will collect data on all livestock types, breeds, and ownership by sex, land ownership, and tenure systems. The livestock census will be conducted in all the 135 districts of Uganda and will collect data from household-based firms as well as private large-scale and institutional firms. The indicators derived from the National Livestock Census will inform evidence-based planning and policy formulation. This is to inform and request all stakeholders at national, local government, sub-county, parish levels and all farmers to cooperate with enumerators and provide accurate information. For inquiries, please call 0757 779992 or 077 33 17660.
In efforts to improve quality assurance and Uganda's competitiveness as a tourist destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
The Clerk to Parliament informs all members-elect of the 11th Parliament that the swearing-in and inauguration of the 11th Parliament will take place from Monday 17th to Thursday 20th May 2021 at Parliament from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on all 4 days. Please take note as follows. Check for the date and time allocated on the back of their invitation cards. Members-elect of Parliament should be accompanied by 3 persons only. Members-elect with disabilities will be granted 1 additional person as an aide. The first sitting of Parliament, at which the Speaker and Deputy Speaker will be elected respectively, will take place on Monday 24th May 2021 at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds starting at 10 a.m. All members of Parliament will be required to take a COVID-19 test. Tests will be taken at Parliament on Thursday 20th and Friday 21st May 2021 between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Transport will be provided from Parliament to Kololo and back and will depart from Parliament at 8 a.m. To access Parliament and Kololo, all members-elect are requested to carry their national identity cards. Those without ID cards should carry letters from both police and NERA or the NERA registration slip with any other additional identification card with a photograph. Signed by Clerk to Parliament.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
The first Indian film released in India was Shri Pundalik, a silent film in Marathi by Dada Saheb Torn on 18th May 1912 at Coronation Cinematograph, Bombay. Some have argued that Pundalik was not the first Indian film because it was a photographic recording of a play and because the cameraman was a British man named Johnson and the film was processed in London. Ton's Pundalik was about 22 minutes long. The film had a shooting script, was shot with a camera, and its negatives were sent to London for processing. The positives were produced and finally released to run for 2 weeks. And that day was today in history.
Makerere University School of Food Science lead researcher Professor Achileo Kaya has said that Uganda loses over $30 million annually in exportation of food products contaminated with aflatoxins. In the report, aflatoxins are poisonous substances produced by fungi known as molds. They contaminate food crops and a health threat to humans and livestock.
Ugandan farmers and traders are at crossroads over post-harvest handling, which is leading to produce rejection on the international markets due to aflatoxins that are hazardous to both human health and livestock.
So in terms of health, aflatoxins cause cancer, the cancer of the liver, and that's actually the main problem. And then the cancer comes as a result of consuming low levels, which become cumulative in the body, since they are not very easy to eliminate.
Professor Achileo Kaya from Makerere University School of Technology, Nutrition and Bioengineering holds the view that many Ugandans are not yet aware of the toxicity of the food they consume.
They may be aware of the molding of the food stuff, but they are seeing the molded grains, for example, but they may not be aware that these molded grains are dangerous for consumption.
A produce exporter from Zirobwe Luwero and center manager Zirobwe Agaliawamu Agribusiness Association, Godfrey Mayambala, is not happy with high costs of aflatoxins tests at Uganda National Bureau of Standards, which is closing out many dealers with no margin of profitability.
But accessing a COC in Uganda has been a hurdle. You get an order, someone is telling you, I need the maize, but it takes you 7 days to get the COC. By the time you get the COC, the client has changed and said, I've already ordered from Tanzania. And then you get stuck.
The convener of the stakeholders meeting from Sasakawa Africa Association, Dr. Roslyn Kabasita Nyamutale, says that efforts to boost extension along the agriculture value chain will reduce on the many deaths due to food poisoning by aflatoxins.
And we also focus on ensuring that quality grain goes to the markets using proper practices, proper harvesting, proper drying on tarpaulins, proper shelling or threshing, and then storage. But also ensuring that the off-takers and the processors also test against aflatoxin.
The meeting also questioned the poor state of Kisenyi grain dealers chain in Kampala, saying something needs to be done to address the challenges faced by grain dealers.
Government of Uganda needs to check Umeme, the country's main electricity distributor, in order to improve transparency in the electricity sector. This was unveiled by Public Services International at the release of the Promoting Transparency and Decent Work in Supply Chains in Electricity, Water and Waste Services in Sub-Saharan Africa report.
A report on supply chains in electricity, water and waste services in Sub-Saharan Africa shows that Uganda's public-private partnerships in the energy sector seem to affect the quality of services.
What affects their functioning is basically the corruption.
and lack of transparency. And this lack of transparency has made the public not to trust the functioning of these public-private partnerships. Most of the information is not within the public domain. And once this information is not within the public domain, then it brings in questions of transparency.
Public Services International commissioned the report showcasing public's perception on the effects of privatizing the energy, water, and waste service sectors.
There's a clear correlation between access to electricity and just transition and climate change. Because if electricity is quite expensive, I'll go for kerosene. What is the implication of that to the climate itself?
With Umeme's concession ending in 2025, the government of Uganda has been urged to renationalize the power distributor.
So the trade-off between profit maximization and the social aspect of this good must be discussed. Because even if you change the clauses, the question is, will you be able to reduce the tariff currently from 700 shillings to maybe 300? And for me as a Umeme, will I be making profit? Because my work as a private actor is to maximize the shareholders' wealth.
In May this year, at the Umeme shareholders' annual general meeting, the chairman, Patrick Bitature, clarified on power tariffs.
The tariff is set by an independent person, the regulator, who oversees all of us, Electricity Regulatory Authority. We do not set the tariffs. Again, I repeat, we do not set the tariffs. It is set by the regulator who has visibility of everything that's happening in the sector. Without their signature, nothing happens. If we make an investment without the authority of the regulator, we shall not be reimbursed our investment.
Over the past 12 years, an estimated 1.2 million customers have been connected onto Uganda's power grid, with the distribution efficiency increasing to 83%. Charlotte Amuge and Robin Yoso for UBC News.
Small and medium enterprises in Uganda are expected to benefit from a financing worth $30 million from Ascent, a private equity fund manager. Dennis Ugoa has this in detail.
Ascent, an African private equity fund manager, is rolling out the first close of its Ascent Rift Valley Fund 2 at more than $100 million. Of the $100 million, Uganda will get $30 million share.
We've closed with at least a little bit over $101 million, which is already ready and committed to the region. So we want to implore successful entrepreneurs to seek these growth capital alternatives that are available through our offices around East Africa.
Ascent operates in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Ethiopia and Rwanda. The entity will invest equity in leading small and medium-sized enterprises in East Africa looking to take large minority or majority stakes. Ascent Rift Valley Fund 2 is targeting financial services, manufacturing, wholesale and retail trade, among others.
As you all know, that there was very little to do in 2020. But despite that, they believed in the success of good entrepreneurial East African businesses. As you all know, we're lucky that we're in the part of Africa that has registered growth despite the pandemic. In different sectors, we've seen some growth, although in some other sectors also we've seen difficulties.
The fund manager seeks to create a league of regional enterprise champions to create quality jobs, drive growth and value, increase government tax revenues through empowering local economies.
You know, maybe you're doing 2 lines of production, you want a 3rd line of production to meet demand. You know, these private equity funds make sure that you can move on and still be able to pay your employees and meet your tax obligations, meet your operational obligations, and then take advantage of the new markets that you've got. So that is scaling.
Dennis Igoa, UBC News.
As government strives to decentralize cancer treatment and care centers across the country, more infrastructure and facilities at the Uganda Cancer Institute are required to accommodate the increasing number of patients who come for therapeutic treatment. To this tune, DFCU Bank has funded the construction of a semi-permanent waiting area to accommodate parents and guests who come to seek medical attention.
Located within the premises of the Uganda Cancer Institute, Mulago, the semi-permanent structure is expected to work as a waiting area for the growing number of cancer patients that visit the facility from across the country.
Now, the biggest challenge, we do not have a lot of people who are coming into the Uganda Cancer Institute for service. They do not have where to stand, where to sit, or at least where to wait for service. So even if you have the best service, if you cannot meet the need of your patients in terms of comfort, in terms of availability of space where they can actually enjoy that service, then you cannot say you are giving a good service.
As part of their corporate social responsibility, DFCU Bank found it prudent to participate in enabling the Institute to fulfill its mandate.
Last year we visited the Institute. We were taken around by Dr. Oriem. We saw the extent of the challenge that the cancer is in Uganda, and we felt that as a corporate citizen we needed to do something, and hopefully others can follow suit so that we all do what we can to make it easier for those who are suffering from cancer, especially now that the treatment is still very centralized.
According to a research by Science Direct, Uganda Cancer Institute Mulago is currently the only comprehensive cancer treatment center in the country, registering about 4,000 new cancer patients per year, and thus justifying more of such government and private sector support.
So we identified this as a need, and the only way out is for us to go to the people instead of the people coming here. That's why we decided to open regional cancer centers. We are starting with 4 for a start, 1 in Mbale, Mbarara, Arua, and Gulu. We are in the phase of now soliciting for funding for that. Good enough, we got funding for one in Gulu. I think in about a month or 2, we are going to do something similar to what we are doing here.
In Uganda, the biggest cause of cancer is infections, one being the human papilloma virus, also known as HPV, that triggers cervical cancer. Fortunately, a vaccine for the virus was launched in Uganda in 2015 by the World Health Organization and should be accessed free at the Uganda Cancer Institute, Mulago.
A large number of Palestinian families in the Gaza Strip have been forced to flee their homes and are seeking shelter in schools run by the United Nations Relief and Works Agency as airstrikes and bombings continue between Israel and the Hamas-led militant Palestinian groups. Some families have already lost their homes during the Israeli strikes, which started 8 days ago. Families who are now temporarily residing in the UN schools are suffering with lack of health services, limited electricity, food, and water supplies. Fatima Al-Danaf, a mother of 5 children, said that the many are also filled with constant signs of terror due to the ongoing Israeli raids and doubt whether the schools can offer a fully safe environment. The Palestinian Ministry for Health has also warned of a potential epidemic catastrophe that may affect the displaced families due to overcrowding in the UN classrooms, which may lead to the spread of COVID-19 in the shelters.
يدعموا أطفالنا يعني حرام إحنا اللي بنعيشه.
Australian employers are still struggling to find staff despite unexpected jump in applications following the end of JobKeeper. Businesses say part of the blame lies with the closed international borders, which have left a gap where foreign workers would normally step in to serve the situation.
Demand for veterinary services in Australia has risen sharply during the pandemic. That's due in part to the explosion of pet adoptions during that time. Meeting that demand inside the University of Sydney's veterinary teaching hospital has become increasingly challenging.
We've known we've had veterinary shortages previously, but this is the first time we've really seen significant nurse shortages, particularly in the specialty and emergency area.
That's because the once reliable flow of skilled veterinary nurses coming to Australia on temporary visas has dried up since the country closed its international borders last year to slow the spread of the virus. Australia prides itself on being a migration nation. It takes in more migrants than most countries and has come to rely on that steady flow of people.
The economic impact of immigration and at the moment the absence of that inflow has been very evident in the last 12 months in the Australian economy.
That's especially true for Australia's universities, which attract more international students than any other country. The billions of dollars they helped to bring in each year before the pandemic was so important that many institutions have built their business models around that income. The agricultural industry relies heavily on people on holiday visas for seasonal work. So did the hospitality and tourism industries. And those sectors that have come to rely on skilled, temporary and permanent migrants are also feeling the impacts from closed international borders.
Well, the real consequences is just workload and staffing to be able to cope with the demand that's there.
The interesting thing is that other countries haven't closed their borders as tightly to the international flow of migrants, whether they be students or sort of temporary or permanent migrants. And that means that Australia is maybe losing a bit of competitive advantages.
Australia's government has suggested the country's international borders will likely remain closed until at least the middle of next year.
Action in Group B of the Federation of Uganda Football Association's Women Elite League has climaxed with Rhines and Bunyaruguru grabbing the available quarter-final slots. In the final group games, Rhines beat Shikataka FC 1-0 to get to 9 points, while Bunyaruguru edged Townview 3-0 and thus finished on 6 points. Rhines will, in the quarter-finals later this month, play dynamic Gaza FC, while Bunyaruguru will face Group A winners, King of Kings. Action will resume on Thursday with Group C that has Ajax, Queens, Amriat, St. Peter's and Vision Women Football Club. This year's Elite League was because of COVID-19 and played in groups, with the final group game expected to climax with Group D on the 28th of May. The top 2 teams from this league will qualify to the Women's Super League. Thank you so much for watching. That is all we had for you. My name is Michael Jordan Lukomwa. Alex Kim Semper has the weather forecast report. Let us leave him with it here.
Thanks for joining us again. It is time for the latest in weather from the Uganda National Meteorological Authority with Semper Alex Kim. We are seeing a slight reduction in wet weather activities across most parts of the country, though some areas within the country are also reporting rainfall. Like by 9 a.m. this morning, Entebbe reported 18.0 millimeters, while Bushenyi 6.6 and Tororo reported 2.1 millimeters of rainfall. Now, the kind of weather we are dealing with is mainly associated to the low pressure system that is developing over the Indian Ocean and diverting most of the moist southeasterlies away from our region, denying us some chances of wet weather activities. Otherwise, the western sector is still benefiting from the Congo air mass coming in and causing wet weather activities. We do expect to see sunny intervals across the skies of most parts of the country, though areas along the Lake Victoria Basin expect to have some chances of some light isolated rainfall. But in the afternoon, we do expect a pickup of wet weather activities in most parts of the country, though it will be quite thundering across Mbale as well as Mubende. We do expect to see temperatures a little bit rising to 31 degrees centigrade to be across Karamoja region, 28 in Kampala, and in Kabale Highlands we are forecasting at 25 degrees centigrade. And elsewhere across the globe, we are forecasting bright and sunny conditions at a daytime high of 29 degrees centigrade across New York. But for Moscow and New Delhi, we do expect some chances of some light isolated rainfall. With that, we conclude it. Stay tuned and join us again tomorrow same time.